There's a lot to this. We can talk about what the head coach of Oklahoma says. I'm irritated by it. I think you should as well, but you can decide for yourself. We can talk about what the head coach at Oklahoma said, comments about himself and his job security. Then we can talk about, I think we need to talk about the Oklahoma football program and how quickly it may or may not fade. I think I think Oklahoma's on two paths going forward. And there's a reason why I'm bringing them up right now. And yes, the coach has sort of become chum in the water, I think. But I think there are two paths going forward for Oklahoma football. And I don't think, you can disagree all you want, I don't think either is good. And I would tell you this, I'd like to be wrong. And here's why I'd like to be wrong about that, because I want Oklahoma to turn the corner. I want Oklahoma to get back on its feet, whatever you want to phrase it, and be a meaningful power in the sport, because that makes the sport more interesting. Just as taking, football to me is science, but to take it in as a fan, you don't want the economics of that industry to reduce it down to just a few. I don't think you really want, I don't care how much of a face painter you are, I don't think you want a lot of these programs to disappear and become irrelevant. Because Oklahoma being competitive and near the top, and I don't mean just 5 and 6 as some throwaway, I'm talking about mattering in the sport, it makes everything more interesting. It makes the Texas OU rivalry relevant. Because it is quickly, I feel like, and again, disagree, but I think a lot of people would agree, I feel like that is quickly on a path to becoming irrelevant. Now, maybe not to the average fan in Texas, but to the rest of the country, it's just not moving the needle. And I don't think that's good. I don't like it. And I don't think you should like it. Okay, the paths that I see for Oklahoma football, at best, the program is at a crossroads. I don't know if you think this. You feel it. You can just always think in terms of what's top of mind awareness. Okay? In a world we live in, we live in a cluttered world, a cluttered media world, a cluttered sports world. And just think in terms of top of mind awareness. And then you think, wait a minute, I don't think about Oklahoma much. I don't even mention them much. They are becoming an afterthought. So I think they really are at best at this crossroads. I think they're really at a crossroads. I think one path is to just keep sliding backwards and go 500 or less or around 500 over the next 2 years. And then they become Nebraska. Yeah, I mean, that's the best comparison I can come up with. You are a legendary power. You are a blue blood of blue bloods, and then you just start to fade. And then the next thing you know, it doesn't take long to forget you altogether. I think if they keep on the current course without some pretty quick turnaround, look out. You will become as irrelevant in top of mind awareness as Nebraska. The other path that I see, because I told you, I don't think either one of their paths, I'm not optimistic they're on a good path at all. And I'm certainly not optimistic, having heard their coach be completely tone deaf. But as I said, I don't think either are very good paths. The other path is even worse, and that is they are well on their way to becoming Nebraska, and nothing except money can stop it. Infusion of cash to buy better players. That's a path that I think you can make a decent case. What do you mean, Jeff? They could be on a path of Nebraska. They're already on a path of Nebraska. So if you want to see a more optimistic path for them, I'm happy to hear it. And I hope you're right, and I hope I'm wrong, because I don't think this is a very interesting and exciting world when the blue bloods just start to fade away. And it's entirely possible in many cases. In fact, you could stretch that and say it's entirely probable in many cases, because it's a sport that is purely governed on how much you can give players. It is not a salary cap. It is a sugar daddy world now. And it may not be, like Nebraska, it may not be a world they can play in. And you can see how quickly you get punished for that. There's that part, right? There's the basics of the trajectory of their football program, which I think is pretty interesting. And again, I really hope I'm wrong about everything I just said. Then their head coach. Oh, my. Brent Venables is a energetic, likable guy. I find him to be somewhat likable. I don't know him, don't care, but publicly he seems likable. He's in really good shape. Looks like he's in really good shape. He's not aging much at all. He's an energetic guy, almost bordering on hyper sometimes. And I can't figure out, because I'm not even sure you can really have a litmus test. I'm not sure if Brent Venables, the head coach at Oklahoma, is over his skis or not. You know, I mean, I know it's easy to say, because I think this is a thing that happens a lot certainly in big-time college football now. You assume it's the coach's fault. You assume it's the quarterback's fault. And you don't remember. All football is about rosters. It's not about drawing up plays. It's not about culture. It's about what kind of talent you have. And you accumulate talent with money.
Hey, Austin, Jeff Ward here, and I never thought I'd be in an accident and need a personal injury attorney. And then sure enough, less than a mile from my house, I was blindsided. I was injured. My world was turned completely upside down. I called DJC Law, and their team took care of everything. I got the best result possible. Don't just take my word for it. They have over 1,000 five-star reviews. So if you're injured, call 512-888-9999 and get your justice at teamjustice.com.